Podcast. Go.
Podcast time. Oh, you really want me to go?
Go.
Okay, everyone. Welcome back to the Because the World Needs Another podcast.
Podcast. That's a lot of podcasts.
It's just 2 podcasts.
Oh.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome back. We're so excited. We're all cozied up here, and we are going to talk manners. All things teen and child manners, but also for adults too. Actually, a lot of adults really don't know some of these. We've got some zingers for you. You know, our podcast before this one was all about our character development program that we worked with and our life-changing principles class. And
if you think, oh, I don't need manners, I don't need to teach my kids manners, or there's going to be some interesting ones here.
Yeah, this isn't just the basic run of the mill for some of you. Maybe you will know all of them, but these are things like for sure. And we taught character development. We helped run that program. He ran the program. I helped. I was assistant to the regional manager. That's from The Office. I was assistant to the character development director. But even I feel like we'll start right off the bat with one fun one that we learned from our neighbor. So she's a waitress, or that's not the proper term anymore. She's a server. Oh, hello. She's a server. And, she told us one time casually, we were just like visiting with her about something, and she told us, oh, I just dread it when school dances are happening. Like when a bunch of kids walk in formal wear, my heart sinks because I just know I'm going to get my whole night's wasted. I'm going to work all night. I'm going to work harder than I ever work.
It's a huge table, but
not going to get paid.
They don't know how to tip.
Yep. Well, and I think with gratuity, right? If it's over 6 or over 8, the gratuity is included, which is helpful for some restaurants, not all of them. And so she said all the time, teens would come and eat dinner, and their bill is this much, and they'll leave a $2 tip or a $4
or
tip.
Or no tip.
Or not tip at all. And we thought, well, have we talked to our son about tipping? We had a teenager at the time, and we were like, we've never told him.
And we taught character development for 4 years in a school. Yeah. That we taught tipping. That was one of the lessons that we taught.
But it stayed off of our radar when it came to when our own son was in dating life and like running his own business. I'm not running his own business, running his own social life and business. We didn't have that conversation, and he did know. We were like, Bud, do you know to do that? But we thought a ton of kids here in our area, they have not had that lesson because this server is having her night be a total wash, and that's so. Like any of us would be mortified, right, to know that our child went and took up time in a restaurant for 90 minutes and then didn't tip their server.
I will say this, tipping has gotten out of control at like these restaurants and just businesses. Like, oh, we're just going to ask you another question. Like, do you want to tip? And so that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about sit down, traditional tipping.
Right.
You
all get to feel some kind of way. The people that if you want to feel some kind of way about all the additional tipping that's being infiltrated.
My dad was he was born in
the Depression,
the
tail end.
He didn't really believe in tipping. He maybe 10%.
He's like, here's a tip, get a better job. Just kidding.
No, he would get so angry. He's like, the owner should just pay them more. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, traditionally, you tip, it's 15 to 20%, most likely 20% now is what tipping is.
So make sure you're having those conversations. And now with our second child, we're doing a lot better. We only have 2 kids. Our first one we coddled, and he's 7 years apart. We experienced a lot of infertility. After we had him, we could not conceive again. They're 7 years apart in the same month, right? They were both born in August, but 7 years apart. And so with him, we could do everything for him because there was no one else. And so we were just obsessed with him, and we just, helicopter parented the crap out of that kid.
We didn't realize that until he was like in his teens. We were sitting down like at like Taco Bell or something. It's like, oh, go run up and order another burrito or something.
Yeah, or he wanted something. We're like, go ask them for some extra packets of hot sauce. He's like, I can't.
No. Or he wouldn't go order another something. Mm-hmm. And we were like, what have we done?
Yeah, we have like not prepared this kid for... Do you just want to hear more from me, Dugovic? Sorry, my mic is...
You're like this. You're talking over it.
Oh, I'm talking over it.
Yes.
Okay, is that better? Hopefully this tone just became amazing.
I don't know why you're sitting up. So
yes. Prim and proper. Crisscross applesauce.
Part of the podcast etiquette.
Talking to your microphone more better.
All of that was set up for podcast
Such
etiquette.
great etiquette. But yeah, we realized, oh my goodness, we have not helped this kid learn how to be.
So yes, so him at a restaurant, it was something that we had realized he couldn't just go order something because he wanted us to do it. He's like, no, you go do that.
He just didn't feel confident doing it. So we had to start having him do that later in life. And now with our youngest, we're like, oh, you want a frozen yogurt? Here's some cash. Go in there. Make sure it's not what's the ones where they weigh it. And
Here's
it's like
$5.
Here's
and
$5.
Go over $5.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
So he'd come out. First he would go way low. It was like $3 because he didn't want to go over. But then he got pretty good at it.
And then it was cute. His Aunt Christy gave him a Menchie's gift card for Christmas. So that was just like high rolling.
He loved that gift card.
Yeah, you guys, the way to Tennyson's heart is
not anymore
Menchie's gift cards.
No more sugar.
Oh, he's over the sugar thing. He has been learning more about sugar. And he's like, I'm not doing it. That stuff is crap for you.
Yeah,
he doesn't say that. I say that. But
he just listened to a whole podcast on sugar and sodas and percentages of stuff. And anyway,
he's so cute. Oh,
he's on a kick,
the little man. So yeah, no more Menchie's, but he also loves Cane's, the fried chickens.
He did have a gift card from Cane's also.
Yeah, that's what I tell. Like, he's a teenager now, and I'm like, his aunts and uncles are like, what should we get him? And I'm like, food. Get him food cards and treat cards. So cute. But have your kids pay for things. Have them go up and ask. And I'm seeing more and more parents do that actually.
And grocery shopping.
Yeah, I've seen parents send their little ones up to the counter to ask for what they want or to ask for a refill or something that they need. And I'm like, that is so great to empower them to communicate with staff and with other people. So we loved that one. That's a big one. What else comes to mind? Oh, like RSVPing. Mm-hmm. And you guys, adults don't do this well either. And I just realized I just did this also. This is really getting out of hand with the microphone. It's fine. I move too much. I'm like a spaz, but no, we just got invited. One of my friends had a graduation party for her daughter, and we were driving to the party, and I realized we did not RSVP. And I was like, and I spaced it. She's a really close friend. I'm sure she kind of knew that I was all in anyway, but it's appropriate to send a text back and say, hey, we're planning on being there. I'm going to bring Kyle and Tennyson. We're all coming.
Why should we do this?
So that they have enough food.
So they know how many people are coming. They can have a head count.
Yeah, because if she thinks, okay, only 15 people are coming, she might make half of the amount of food she was planning on making. And then if dummies like us show up without RSVPing, there might not be enough food. And going along with that, same thing. And this is another huge thing to teach your kids. And this is big. Anytime there's buffet line type stuff, like where you dish up, you fill your own plate, you teach them to be moderate and appropriate and to have good manners. And you don't take everything, especially if you're one of the first people to visit the food line. Do not take too much, because by the end, like if there's a large amount, and there were a lot of people at this graduation party tonight, and we could have cleaned house, and by the tail end of people like lining up to get food, they wouldn't have had food. And so you RSVP so the host and hostess know how much to prepare and how many people to be expecting, right? And then also be really gracious and thoughtful of everyone else. And teenage boys are terrible at this. So it's something that you definitely want to teach them about and educate them on well before they're in the situation, or go with them when they're dishing up. Make sure you're overseeing it so that they can get a feel for what's appropriate.
Because a lot of teenage boys think, I'm hungry. I just gotta get this food.
Well, and they try to do it to be funny too. Like a lot of times when we do like big youth activities and stuff, I'll see like kids going like, oh, I'm going to pile on a huge stack of bacon at like a big breakfast. And it's like, no, that's one of the most expensive items at the buffet, and it's one of those things that takes longer to cook. So if they take all of it on a huge stack on their plate, everyone behind them cannot have it until the next batch is cooked. It's so rude, but they don't think about it. They're not going to think it through. So it's up to us as parents, and if you're in any sort of teaching capacity, to be teaching these kids like, hey, don't do that.
And I think we teach one thing that I think a lot of parents teach is saying please and thank you. That's a big one, especially when you're being served something, to say thank you to people like that. That's one that I think some kids just go through and being just like, oh, serve me, give me this thing, and not acknowledging those behind the scenes too.
Right. And we really had to work with our kiddo. He has a lot of food aversion stuff. He's very, very sensitive eater, and he doesn't like most things.
And he's very direct.
He's very direct. And so, yeah. So people would say, oh, here, do you want some of this? He's like, no, I hate that.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that's disgusting. He was littler, but we were like, bud, no, you can't. Don't say that. It's a very simple, no, thank you. I'm full. No, thank you. I don't need anything right now is much more polite than that's disgusting or I hate that. And so, yeah, just make sure that before you're going into a situation like that, we wish we would have had that on our radar. We hadn't thought it through. Luckily, most of his experiences were with people who knew us well and could laugh it off. It wasn't like a highly offensive thing.
We didn't realize it until it was happening.
Right. Which happens to most of us, right? And then for a long time after, though, we would take time to coach him. Whenever we're driving somewhere, we would say, all right, bud, remember,
that's where we're going.
This. That's
what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this. So we're homeschooling our son this year. This whole past year, we're just finishing up this year. We're actually not going to stop for the summer because we're loving it. And I think it's just important for his brain to know that it's time to work. But this book is so cool. We ordered this on Amazon. And this one's volume 2, actually. I'm really excited we can actually get a volume 1. I didn't even notice the volume 2 thing. One of my good friends who homeschools also, she had this at her house. And it's one of these cool books that when you flip it open, it can sit on your table. So you know how we used to love to read cereal boxes as kids? When you're sitting at breakfast, at least I did. And like there's like a maze on the back or a puzzle to solve. She set this up. And it's 52, which is so smart because it's one for like you flip it through once a week. Every week you flip over a new one. So you just know, every Sunday
we've been switching it every day.
We've been switching it whenever we think to, because I'd rather go through it multiple times, have him learn it faster. And yeah, I don't want him to wait till the end of the year to have manners, but I do love this. And if you forget to flip it over, weekly is a pretty easy amount of time to flip it over.
It just sits on our table, and so when we eat,
yeah,
I saw him reading it this morning actually.
Oh yeah. And it's nice because it's when that's the only thing on the table, and he's not allowed to have tech at the table. He's not allowed to have these other things. Not always. Sometimes he sneaks it, but not as often. We've cracked down on that a lot. But yeah, this is written by Brooke Romney, and she is just so genius. And we thought that we would share some of them today because these are so awesome for teens, for sure. She also has one for kids. We ordered the kids one, and then this one. And now that I know that we actually got volume 2, I'm excited to get volume 1.
Do they have manners for adults?
Well, I think we should take all of these to heart. That's called Get Some Manners, You Idiot. Just kidding. That's what the next one. Manners for Dummies. That's probably out there. But yes, and as adults, no, we haven't even been taught everything properly, truly. I think there's always room for improvement. And like I said, even I didn't RSVP. We're actually pretty big sticklers for that. And I try to be really good about communicating our attendance to things because I do know how important it is. But we also space it so we can give ourselves a little grace as well. But I want to share some of these and let's talk them out. Sound good, Dugovic?
Yes.
Deal. So her first one, I did love this one. It says, start a conversation. And she's such a good writer. I love her stuff. Want to be more successful in your friendships, relationships, and career? Learn how to start a conversation. Try this simple formula. Make an observation, then ask a question. Bring up something you observe. I love your Michigan hat. Are you from there? She also says, look for commonalities. Did you say you used to be a lifeguard? Me too. And this book was so helpful because we think we'll have Tennyson trained to be a lifeguard for his first job, right? He's a really good swimmer and he's getting so excited about being able to get a job.
He wants to get a job so bad.
So badly.
It's already calculating. If I work 3 days, I can
At
take that
minimum
money
wage.
and I can buy this.
Yes, it's so cute. He's our little go-getter. So I love that. I was like, thank you also, Brooke Romney, for reminding us that Tennyson should probably get some lifeguard training and get ready to do that.
You brought it up?
Yes, it was from reading this together. Find a connection. I think I recognize you from middle school. Did you go to KJH? Share a compliment. But I love this too because she says, your solo was incredible. Do you take private lessons? So it's like a compliment, but then a question that then engages the other person you're talking to into giving more information about themselves, which I thought was so smart. And then she says, be honest. I've never taken AP classes and feel super overwhelmed. Have you done them before? And then she says, conversation can open doors that lead to friendship. And I thought that was so good.
And then it has a back part.
Yeah. And it says few things are harder than starting a conversation, but it's always such a relief when someone can. Being the one who gets a great conversation going allows you to bring people together. As you show interest in others and get them talking, they will walk away thinking you are interesting because they will have enjoyed the conversation. Everyone is looking for real connection, and if you can practice the skill to make that happen, you will go far. Being brave enough to start a conversation isn't easy, but it's worth it. And I think that's so true.
One of my favorite books that we have our kids read every
Tennyson
year.
just finished it, right?
He's reading it right now.
Oh, okay. I thought he did that one.
No, anyway.
Yeah.
So it's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And it's one of my favorite stories in there. He says he went to this party and he was talking to this lady and he just was interested in her and just asking her questions.
She had just traveled somewhere really cool and he was like, I've wanted to go there. What did you do? What did you see?
He just, and then
grilled her.
They talked and then they came back, and then the next day I think the lady met one of his friends and said, oh, that Dale Carnegie, he's an amazing conversationalist.
Or she said, he's the most interesting person I've ever met.
Yes.
And he said, I didn't say a single thing about myself.
Yeah, she didn't ask one question.
Yeah.
He's the one that asked questions to her. And if you want to be interesting, you need to be interested.
Yes.
And so that's one thing, is be interested in what they're saying and what their life is, what they're doing, what they've done. And you will be the most interesting person in the room.
For sure. I loved that story so much. He's the most interesting person. It's like, she does not know one thing. If you quizzed her, she could not tell you. And that's great. I remember reading that book for the first time too, though. And I definitely tend to talk about myself too much. And I do it. It's a nervous thing. It's like hi, I'll fill the silence with banter and with me saying things. And I always just felt like, I needed to talk to.
She doesn't like silence.
Yeah. Now I do. I'm a meditation teacher. I better.
Not in conversation is what I'm saying.
Well, right. And when I was younger, I had a really hard time. I think I was a nervous conversationalist. But then when I read this book, I was like, game changer. I'm going to, do this and this and this and that and the other. And the next time I'm in a social setting, I'm just going to ask people all the questions. And I was at some sort of a meet and greet, like with couples. Like there were several of us with couples at some sort of a potluck, and we were meeting new people. And I was trying to just ask them questions. They were turning it on me. And I was like, I see what you're doing here.
Dale Carnegie.
We were having a Dale Carnegie tennis match.
I'm a Dale Carnegie better than you.
And I'm like, stop. I'm not very good at this yet. Like, can you please just answer my questions?
Also, one thing
I'm
did
trying
hear
really hard. Yes.
lately is people are hearing this more, and so it's becoming more of like an interrogation. You don't want it to be an interrogation, like, where'd you grow up? What'd you do this? What'd you do? Like all of these rapid fire questions more. And that's why I love this. It's like a conversation. It's not you just asking questions. It's you asking questions, but then adding your part also. Yeah. So it's a conversation, but you're asking more than you're just giving.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a new trend too that I would actually love to know what other people think about this. So comment in the comments if you have some thoughts on this, because I would love to hear them. I'm hearing a lot more where people are saying, when someone says that they went through this really hard thing, don't say me too. And don't say that da-da-da-da-da. And I get not saying me too and like hijacking their conversation, but I don't agree with that.
Or I think what they're saying is like trying to
one up or whatever.
Yeah. Or
I get it.
That happened to me too. Like, but
I know, but that's finding commonality. Yeah, I don't agree.
I think what they're talking about more is one-upping.
Okay, well they need to.
Oh, I did that, but I also wrestled a bear when I went to the mountains.
But when that happened to me, I did this magnificent thing. No, I totally get that, but I'm just saying the way that I have been continuously seeing it communicated online is like just a flat don't do that, and there's not a lot of qualifying of that. And I would just say, I love it. If I've gone through something, like if I express, I struggled with infertility for a few years. If someone says, I did too, I would love to know that about that person. I don't feel like, hey, I'm the one talking about my infertility right now. I'm not like that. Like, I'm like, I love to go deep with people, and I love to understand their journey. And if parts of their journey overlay with mine, and I get what you're saying too. I agree with that part of it. The one-upper stuff, I don't agree with, but I think the commonality stuff, just be careful. If you're seeing the same kind of stuff that I'm seeing, take that with a grain of salt, because I think it's different. And same thing, like with me going through my panic disorder and anxiety stuff, I can't tell you how many people have reached out who've seen our earlier episodes and have said, thank you for sharing this. This is something I've really been going through, and I feel so alone, and it feels so hard. And so it's good to hear that people have gone through this and come out on the other side strong, and
you can get better, and
that there's hope and healing as you go. And so, and it's like, I would never be like, well, I'm the one talking about my anxiety, you don't tell me about your anxiety. It's like, no,
there are people that definitely think that, but in a conversation it's good to share common interests.
And so it's okay to share from your heart. That's all I want to say, is just, it's an ebb and a flow, and it's a reading the room thing, but you're also probably going to accidentally offend people who didn't want you to share something. And to that I say, oh, well, not for you. You're not for them, and they're not for you. And that's okay too. That rhymed.
That rhymed. Unintentional. There are those that are going to be looking to be offended no matter what you do.
Right.
But all we can do is learn and grow and help and share and
do what we can.
Yeah.
And so another one she has is, and I loved this one too. I'm like, these are zingers. And don't worry, Brooke Romney, I won't share your whole book. I think everyone should go get it. We'll do a link to the sales page of wherever you want it, because this is amazing. I don't know her. She's not going to see this podcast, but you're amazing, Brooke Romney. This is beautiful.
Everybody tag Brooke Romney in the comments.
Brooke Romney, you are a gem. And like the design, by the way, is so clean and gorgeous and modern and simple. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it being on my table because it's not ugly.
I just saw one that said gossip.
Ooh, dang.
We haven't got to that one yet.
No. Oh, Brooke Romney. Oh, I haven't read this one yet, Brooke. I'm not stealing it. Take a small portion first. If you are eating in a large group with a buffet or family style food laid out, realize that what you see needs to feed the whole group.
Would you look at that?
That Brooke Romney.
Just look at it.
One and the same, Brooke. I think we're twins, separated at birth. Okay, so this one is celebrate others. And this is something I think the sooner we can teach this to kids, the better. Because
I think a lot of kids get jealous with other kids,
and then they want to tear them down.
Yeah.
And I think my mom probably did instill this in me. There were so many girls. I did theater in high school, and I loved that the other girls were so talented. And a lot of them are older than me, so that made it a little easier to look up to them and think they were so cool. But I remember we were doing the Les Miserables, and that has so many amazing female lead roles, right? And I still didn't get one.
Les Miserables.
Les Miserables. Les Mis. So they did I think 2 of the role of Fantine, and then 2 Eponine, and then Cosette was the same. So that way it would get even more of the characters, more opportunities. And all of the girls who were seniors that year, and that senior class was just packed with talent. It was insane. And I was a junior, and I would have loved to be able to get one of those roles, because that is the ultimate play, right? And I didn't, because there was just way too much talent. And especially the senior class, you want to favor that anyway, but they weren't favored above me. They were all better singers than I was, flat out, like easily, and beautiful and so talented. So, but I remember I was so excited for all of them, and I couldn't even be disappointed because I respected them so much.
I think that's rare though.
I think so too. And that's what I'm saying, is I think my mom raised me though, like, to be a girl's girl, to be cheering on everyone around me. Yeah. And I want to be friends with people that are cooler than me. I want to be in company with people that I respect and deeply admire. Their bright, shiny light doesn't dim my light. It fuels my fire too, right? I think
most kids, it's definitely one of those things of the crabs in a bucket. Is that...
the crab in a bucket analogy, where they're pulling each other down.
Like student of the month, like getting student of the month was something that some students would try to knock them down because of that, and but not celebrating them. Yeah. Because they didn't get it, I guess. But
exactly. Yeah. So this one just says celebrate others. When something good happens to someone, celebrate with them. Don't rationalize, downplay their success, or say they got lucky. And I've heard kids say that, oh, he just got lucky. Oh, that's not that big of a deal. I wouldn't even care about winning that award. It's like, no.
Oh, they know the director, or
right. And I could have said, oh, those girls are all seniors, and they just want to give the roles to senior girls because they're all leaving next year. It's like, No, and that wasn't why they got the parts either. But I didn't even try. Like, I can see people wanting to do that, but I didn't think that. I thought, they're wicked talented. Cool for them, you know? And I was excited for them. So, don't act like you deserved it more. Let them have their moment and talk it up. Give them the chance to be the star and feel the joy of accomplishment. Few things show emotional maturity more than being happy for the good fortune of others. Such a good zinger, like such a great. And so having that, again, as a parent, I wouldn't naturally just think to have a conscious conversation with my child and say, hey, the next time one of your friends does something awesome, make sure you don't downplay it, make sure, or leave it quiet, right? I've definitely had things where something's great has happened to me and literally people are like, they're not going to say anything mean, but they're not going to say, Laura, I'm so happy for you. That's great. I mean, you notice who is cheering you on and you notice who's sitting quietly, you know, watching from afar and not happy that you are having a good moment.
I just heard this thing that this guy was saying that he started this business and he was sleeping on the floor of the business and just struggling, and all of his clients, like, they knew that and saw that, and they were cheering him on of really getting there. And then when he became successful and those clients and employees, then it switched. Then it was jealousy came in instead of celebrating him.
Oh, that's so.
They were jealous of, and then trying to tear him down because he was here and they were looking down.
They want to cheer for the underdog.
Yeah, and then he got here, and then they wanted to tear him back down.
Wow, isn't that so interesting?
Yeah.
Human nature is a funny beast, right? And so it's cool for us to also notice it in ourselves. If you are noticing that, if you're noticing somewhere where it's giving you a little zing because you see someone as an equal and they do something.
Or if you see on Facebook, like someone accomplished something really good and you feel that jealousy of like, you know, and instead of feeling that, like really type on there, feel that of celebrating them and write something positive.
Yes, I love that. And as she says here, turn jealousy into genuine admiration and personal motivation. If you can choose to be happy for others' success as a teen, you will be way ahead of the game. Celebrating others allows you to feel joy even when things don't go your way and shows an internal confidence that draws others to you. That's true too. It is so confident.
You know what? That is true of when you don't say anything, or if you say things that, or if you even have the thought, like that energy is negative. Where if you can really switch it and celebrate, other people are going to see that and they're going to see it, and it all comes back.
Yeah.
And people are going to feel that from you and who you are as a person.
Yeah, I love that.
What was the final thing you read? Draw things to you. Draw
others to you. Yeah, because they feel it. And like, I love this too. I can't think of it was months ago, but I listened to a really great podcast with a girl who said, and it's about business building. And she said, what am I pretending not to know about like what I need to do, you know? But one other thing that I think is funny that she kind of referenced later too is it's interesting how we pretend, quote, not to know about our relationships. Or like, have you ever had a friendship where you're like, this is a red flag friendship. This friend isn't happy for me, but you're like, I don't want to see it. I want her to be my friend. I don't want to, or like this friendship. I've had friendships from, you know, like my high school friendships and stuff. It's like, and then nothing bad happened, but they just fizzle. Like you don't stay in touch or things don't, you know. But I've also had toxic friendships where I stayed in that friendship way too long because I didn't want to face it. Like I didn't want to. And then when I heard this girl say, what am I pretending not, and like it might be a romantic relationship. What am I pretending not to know?
Oh yeah.
About how I'm being treated by this person, about how I'm being perceived, or just the energy you're feeling, the exchange between you.
Or pretending not to see. Like it's something that you know is there, but you don't want to see it. You don't want to admit it because you enjoy that friendship.
Certain aspects of it. And that defines you, right? Like that friendship, it's like, oh, the fallout would be so ugly. And it's like, yeah, but are you going to live out of integrity of how you deserve to be treated, or who you even want to, if someone is not cheering you, if someone really actually wants to see you 5 notches below them, and that's the prerequisite of you having a good relationship is that you're always below them, get new friends. Because if you can't grow and be cheered on by that friend, then like you have to stay low to stay in that friendship. And we're all here to expand and grow, no matter where you are in your life. We're here to learn, grow, and move upward in our, you know, in our developmental scale.
This book, it says teens.
Yeah.
And why it says teens that I just realized is because she said something in here about if you can learn it as a teen, you're going to be that much further ahead, which so many adults don't have these things.
Yes. And then this last line is so money. If you are feeling envious of someone, take that as a sign that you may need to work on your own dreams. Mic drop. Don't drop these. Don't drop them. But
So good.
pretend I dropped it. You guys, jealousy is always coming from an internal not enoughness. And it's like, go do it. Or you're even jealous of, I was really jealous years ago of someone who just could say no. Like she could just be like, no, I don't want to. Like within a family dynamic, within her family dynamic. And I was like my brain wanted to do all this stuff. That's like, she's just so selfish. She's just like, da, da, da. And it's like, no, actually I was jealous of her ability to say no because I had major people pleaser stuff going on. And so my brain, not wanting to give up all of my games that I play to be loved and accepted, my brain went on attack mode for this girl saying, who does she think she is? And she's so like, my brain was like, she's so selfish. And then I realized she's not selfish. She knows who she is and she has healthy boundaries. But because I wasn't putting the healthy boundaries in place in my own life, I resented someone else. I'm like, how dare you have boundaries? I don't get to have boundaries. Well, why don't I get to have boundaries? Because I'm not choosing to have them. Right?
It's so interesting to see and what you don't know behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big thing is we have some really good friends that lost some of their friends recently that they post on Facebook, like they travel and it seems like they travel a lot and their other friends, I guess they didn't know, but they were jealous of them traveling so much and they thought they were shoving it in everybody's face.
Yeah. The way they interpreted it was like, they're just flashy and they're just rich.
They're showing off their money. What they didn't realize is, and these other friends had moved and so they didn't live by each other anymore. So they didn't realize, what our friends were going through to get this is that his wife worked for an airline. So they had standby tickets to fly. So anytime they flew,
oh my gosh,
it is the most crazy experiences because they have to fly standby. It's with 6 people.
Yeah.
And so
it's a circus and you guys, they get split apart.
Oh,
but they're down. They're like game on. They are the most adventurous. They're the opposite of us. We are polar attracted to these friends.
That's why we're friends.
We're friends because they are literally opposite of us. But they in all the best ways.
It's part of the adventure is what they call it with their family. But how many times they've been split up like, 2 have to fly now and 4 have to find a car.
And we joke because we're like, we'd rather never travel again than deal with that.
You.
Like it sounds so stressful, but they're like, logistics and let's just solve. They treat it like a Rubik's Cube puzzle that they get to solve. They're so cute. I love it. It's a game to them. And they're joyful. They make memories. They laugh and talk about it. Oh, remember that one time when our 2 teenagers were stuck in JFK for 2 days?
It was crazy.
And they were just eating Doritos and like, and they're like, those were the best memories.
Yeah. And
their kids are awesome. They love it.
They have different ways of when they're hotels with points and then with
they're so savvy
other people's and they're not spending all this money, but from the outside they literally lost a friendship. I'd say a friendship in quotes.
Fake news. But and it wasn't only over that, but I'm sure jealousy and resentment started to breed and they were like, they're so fake and they're so flashy. And it's like, you have no idea.
It's that last line.
Yep.
That they were
feeling envious.
Yeah. They wanted those vacations. They wanted those things. But they didn't realize what they were going through to get these things.
And guess what else? Even if they just had a ton of money to dump on a vacation, cool. Why do they have to be going through hard, tricky things for it to be okay for them to make tons of fun memories with their family and post it on Facebook? Guess what? Facebook is for grandparents. When I post on Facebook,
memories of like
it documents all your memories and you can have a book made.
We did this?
Well, no, and you can like literally have these book companies just go through your whole feed and publish everything into these little bound books. So you have scrapbooks done.
What's the quote they say is like, if somebody's upset with you, it says more about them than it says about you.
Yes, that's the gist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when somebody like finds fault this way, it's saying everything about them and nothing about you. Always, like consistently across the board.
But our friends are such good people that it hurt them.
And it shocked us. And it's hard as friends to watch them going through like this criticism and like kind of being attacked by other people. Like, it's like, but yeah, scroll on by. It's like the classic. Yeah. But what I will say is, have you met grandparents? Because my grandparents are now all officially gone. But when they were here, my Grammy was commenting on every single thing I posted. So you better believe I'm posting everything that my kids are doing. That tiny 3-year-old Tennyson, 4-year-old Tennyson won a cannonball contest at the Welk Family Resort in San Diego.
Whenever that comes up on the memories is so good.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And it's a treat to us too. But yeah, if you think your kids are the cutest kids on the planet, good for you. Post about your kids as much as you want. Post about your great vacations as much as you want. Life is hard enough. There are enough hard things that happen in life that we don't need to be begrudging each other the little pleasures. And I get like, oh, just put the highlight reel. But you know, if people complain about a really hard time or share a really hard, vulnerable time, then people go, you're oversharing. You shouldn't be saying this, or you're just negative all the time. It's like, we can't win. So live your best life. But if you find yourself chronically judging people, today's your day. Today's your day to go, wow, this is not serving me. And what is it triggering in me? Am I not allowing myself to have boundaries? Am I not going on these fun family vacations? Am I not prioritizing that? And I wish I were. Figure it out. But that's a great start. Like when we feel jealous, it's because it's triggering a limitation that we have, and we don't have to have them. We can all move past these and have beautiful lives. So I love it. Should we see what happens next? I feel like.
Or you can just flip and.
I know. There's Brooke Romney. They're so good.
They're all going to be good, but maybe just flip through and see.
But like. That one, no. That one could be a treat. That one's so good. That one's so good. This one, I even hear adults do this for sure all the time, and especially on social media. I can be this way. I grew up really analytical, and I can have a really scorchy tongue if I want. Don't put down what others love. People do that all the time, like marked safe from caring about the Taylor Swift concert, marked safe from caring about the Eras tour, right? Or marked safe from caring about the Super Bowl or whatever you want to think about, right?
Me not caring that
okay, those are funny.
Season is starting.
Okay, The Sound of Music, Maria. The hills are alive. Yeah, that I'm here for because that's funny. Okay, just kidding. Yeah. Oh, look at me not caring about
football starting.
About Monday Night Football. Yeah, whatever they are. Don't put down what others love. Why are we so snarky in this culture? But so this is great for teens too. And I have seen this in our kids, like when they're jealous, when they're struggling with something, they may do this. So it says you don't have to like everything others like, but you also don't have to be a jerk about what they think is great. So good. Dissing something someone else loves, even as a joke, is a quick way to bring disconnection and frustration into a relationship. That is so true too.
Like joking, and we always say sarcasm. That's one thing in our home.
Degovic, take it away.
I do not like sarcasm. I think sarcasm is lazy. It's a lazy.
You say it's the lowest form of wit, right? The lowest form of humor.
Yeah, it's not even so.
Yeah, wit is amazing. I mean, humor.
Yeah. So being witty is what we say to our kids. Be witty. To be funny, don't use sarcasm, because sarcasm, people are like, oh, with sarcasm, that's our family, how we talk, and it's different. Being witty, people can correlate that also with sarcasm, but for the most part, sarcasm is putting down somebody for your own laugh or humor.
Yeah, it's always a put down. Sarcasm includes within it like you're taking someone else out in order to make the joke.
Yeah.
Or like making a fool out of someone too.
Making someone look stupid.
Yeah, being sarcastic can and it's cute too because like our youngest, he's very literal, and we learned very early on that like he does not track sarcasm. And so it really messes with him. And it's also just not an appropriate form of humor. It's really not. And even if it is like, oh no, it's what we do as a family. Well, today's the day you can actually choose to do better. You can say, maybe that's a family tradition that can end with us and it won't be, our legacy.
And guess what? Maybe we're offending some people right now because
we're okay with that.
Sarcastic. But there's a difference between sarcasm and being witty. Be witty, not sarcastic.
Yeah. And that's not easy. And I love how it says too.
Especially if you're used to it.
Yeah.
I think if you do it so much.
It's hard to turn that off. Yeah.
It's like a natural response to come back and say these sarcastic things, but it's really putting people down instead of being funny or witty.
Totally agree. I love it. And she says, if a person you meet loves baseball, you don't need to tell them you think it's a stupid sport.
Or
and
football
even I
season.
do that. And even I do. I'm like, I don't care about sports. I do not.
Not even football sports?
Not even football sports is. But here's the thing. I don't need to broadcast. I think of Ron Burgundy. Hey, everybody, come see how good I look. Like, like that loud voice. I don't like football. Like just that loud, abrasive, like, rah, rah. Why do I need to do that? I don't need, like, nobody. I also love the quote. It's attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, but I love the quote. If you realized you wouldn't worry so much about what everyone thinks about you, what people think about you, if you realized how seldom they do. People aren't thinking about you, but guess what else? People also don't need to know that you hate something they love. They also don't care. And so you don't sound particularly intelligent being like, oh, hey, are you guys talking about football over there? I hate football.
Or you're tearing someone down.
And that's super icky. Yeah. Yeah. If a new friend is from a city or state you didn't enjoy, you don't have to list all the bad things about it. If a cousin loves a certain restaurant, you don't need to tell her why that choice is gross.
I hate sushi. That's the worst.
Yeah, you like.
You love sushi? I hate it.
Yeah, like.
No need.
Isn't
There's
it
no
funny?
need.
But I have done this. I've 100% been guilty of this.
I say I'm allergic to it.
Oh, that's fine. That's totally different. But even like you also don't volunteer that unless people are like, "Do you want to go get sushi?" You're like, "I don't. Wouldn't be good for me. Wouldn't be good for my throat to close up."
Correct.
Facts. Okay.
How about we do the rest of the podcast
ASMR?
like this? Hey, everybody.
Doing these things turns people off to you.
You don't want that.
Immediately. Instead, just don't say a word.
I like it.
Or get curious and ask what they love about it. Isn't she good?
Brooke Romney's.
Brooke Romney. 50, is it modern? 52 modern manners for today's teens. Brooke Romney. Love it. Love it. Love it.
One more. Just flip through the whole thing and get one more.
Do we do stop the gossip though?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
That's really popular right now. Tea. I need the tea. I think they've switched the word gossip to tea to make it be a little better instead of gossip. We're not gossiping. We're just shedding
spilling some tea.
Shedding
light. I'm shedding light on a subject or
we are spilling the tea.
Yeah.
But it is gossiping.
Ooh, introductions though. We did want to say most teenagers do not do this, and
Even
I would love
adults.
to see it. And adults are terrible at it too, actually, huh? No offense to those of you who are terrible. And
I'm offended.
I still actually blow this one too sometimes. So when you bump into friends, like let's say I'm out shopping with a friend, my friend Darcy. So Darcy and I are out at TJ Maxx, which is my favorite, shopping. And we run into one of my other friends. But Darcy does not know that friend. It is so critical that you say, "Oh, hi, how are you? This is my friend Darcy. Darcy, this is my friend Amy." Shake hands so that all of you are in a conversation. All right?
So here's a little trick too.
Yeah.
Is sometimes you forget the other person's name. So that's a way to, "Oh, this is my friend Darcy." And then they could be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Darcy. What's your name?"
Hopefully they'll do that. Maybe nudge them and say, "I know her, but I don't know her."
Maybe.
Give Darcy a heads up.
But that's also good for you. If you're the other person, you can introduce yourself and ask their name if they don't tell you their name.
Yes. But I have seen multiple times where people run into someone that they know and they will have an entire conversation with the third person just standing there like a creeper. Like they just feel like, why? Like I am just, they haven't been invited into the conversation or the relationship, and it's really awkward.
And if you're the other person that come upon two people, you can take it upon yourself.
Yes.
Like, "Oh, hi, I'm..."
Such a good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, so if they just start talking with you, say, "I haven't met you before. Oh, hi, I'm Laura's friend, Darcy." You can, and sometimes you're really excited or shocked to see someone you might not remember. So then you, as the third party who hasn't been introduced, you can always take that initiative and introduce yourself.
I was talking about the other side too. So if you come upon,
but either way,
yes,
it goes either way. But yeah, my brain went the other direction. But yeah, same thing. Like, yeah, if you happen upon it, you can introduce yourself to the extra friend that you don't know. I do the same thing. If there's a whole table of people, there have been times when I've been waved over and it's like a friend of mine is sitting with her whole family. I'll just wave to the family and be like, "Hi, I'm her friend Laura," right? "So nice to meet you guys." Like they don't have, if there's 5 people, they don't have to go, "I'm Bob, I'm Timmy," da da da. Like they can, but it's like, it doesn't have to be that, but you should at least introduce yourself. If you go up to a table, like you can say, "Hey, hi," and keep it brief. don't stand and talk, even if it's someone you haven't seen at a restaurant. Like the server can't get around you. I've had situations like that, not with me, but I've observed them where everyone, and that goes to like, she has read the room, which is really good too, where it's like, read the room. If you can tell that someone's kind of trying to close down the conversation, ebb into that and help shut down the conversation, right? Where he's really, I will not end a conversation. I will be there forever.
I'm going to teach you a secret.
I mean, that's what I want you to do. Tell him your secret, Dugovic.
There's a secret word. And the word is spelled W-E-L-P.
Welp.
Welp. If you say that word.
With an uptick. With an upward.
Welp.
Welp. It was really great seeing you guys.
Yeah. Welp. Oh.
Yes.
I guess we need to get going.
Oh, it was so awesome to run into you.
That word it's a great conversation.
Yes.
Segue of leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so anyway, but yeah, I've seen, especially like being aware when you run into someone at a restaurant. If you walk up to their table, they may wave at you and say hi. I always just keep it really short if I'm walking up to them and talking, because they can't leave, you guys. They're standing there.
And you can say,
or sitting. They're seated at their table having a meal.
Like, let's catch up. Let's catch up later.
Yes, I'd love to catch up with you. I'll text you sometime, or oh my gosh, it was so fun running into you. I hope you guys have. And I'll say, enjoy your dinner, guys. Bye. And I will see my way out. So yeah, those are a few great things to teach yourself or to teach your teens. I feel like that's good for today, right?
That was good.
Yeah. Oh, do you want it? Kyle wants to find one. It's like a flip chart of joy. I'm so cozy today. This blanket is the most. Nah, we can just move on. Just kidding. Huh?
There's so many good ones.
There's so many good ones. That's just an inside joke.
It was forgive.
Yeah. But that's its own entire thing. Like, we're not going to try to touch on forgiveness today. Like, we're like, you should just forgive everyone.
Yeah, we should just do one of these at the end of every podcast.
Right?
Just to have one. Turn off your phones
off. That's a good one.
That's one thing that I love. Simon Sinek, if you know who he is, he did one of the most watched podcast or TED Talks. It's called Start with Why, and he wrote a book, Start with Why. And I thought we had that book
somewhere.
Maybe we had somebody borrow. I haven't seen it in a while.
Remember how we sold all of our belongings and moved into a travel trailer?
Yeah, that's probably.
Whenever we don't know where something is, we go, do you remember that one time?
That one time we got rid of everything.
That we sold everything and left.
So he talks about the importance of phone etiquette. And I think that's a big thing with teens, but also with adults.
Absolutely.
Is not even if you take your phone out and you put it on the table face down, your phone's still there. So this conversation is not as important as I might need to get my phone. So keeping your phone away. And he did this example of having a conversation and having a phone out. Even if you have it in your hand, it's still there. Mm-hmm. Like, you could get a call, and in this conversation, I might have to get my phone because, it's here. He even said, even if you take it and go set it somewhere and then come a conversation, it's just having your phone in your hand is a distraction. Even if you're not looking at it, even if it's on the table face down, just putting your phone away. I don't know if even that's what it says in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah, someday when we get to that page, huh? But yeah, that book is awesome. We love it. But I agree with the phone thing too. Kids definitely need more coaching and training around phone etiquette. Like, and our kids included.
And being in public, being at a party, an event, anything is.
Yep.
Also in line. I think that's one thing that we need to do better with. Mm-hmm. Talking about social graces.
Yeah.
Is when you're uncomfortable, I think a lot of us grab our phones to be disconnected. When you're in a grocery line, when you're at a doctor's office, when you're not actually looking up, having conversations and interacting with people, it's just going to the phone.
Yeah.
It's an easy out.
It's easy. And as a meditation teacher too, I love to encourage people, don't do that. Don't sit and breathe and observe your surroundings. just be really present in the moment, and even noticing how busy your brain is, noticing how much your brain just wants to scroll Instagram and be just immediately distracted while your spouse is in the bathroom, right? And like, like while you're waiting for someone, or just notice how uncomfortable the brain has actually become with silence, and it's not silent in a restaurant or a mall or whatever, but in stillness, and you not doing.
You know what's interesting is I was thinking about that the other day of one of the times that I get my most inspiration is in the shower, because it's one of the only times that we don't have distractions of phones and
people and
TV and
laptops
stuff.
and yeah, absolutely.
And what's scary is I saw this ad that it was this like a shower curtain thing that you could put your phone in and watch something.
It would protect it, like you put it from the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So you could watch your phone.
Yeah, I don't think we need it. I don't think we need that.
It's some people think like they have to have constantly.
Well, even I do that. When I get into the shower, I'm like, oh, like maybe I should get the big speaker so I can keep listening to this podcast or this, this TED Talk or this other thing while I'm showering. And it's like, maybe you could be quiet for 8 minutes of showering. 8. If you listened to the end of this podcast.
Are we at the end now?
Write 8 in the comments. Not all the way at the end, but close. But write 8.
8.
8.
It's a secret.
Put it in the comments. We'll send you a treat.
And also, we're building a community of like-minded individuals on becausetheworldneeds.com. And because this is Because the World Needs in the podcast, but just becausetheworldneeds.com, we have a free membership you can go sign up on. You have access to a 7-day meditation. You have protocols for
adrenal support, to like have healthier adrenals, because when your adrenals are out of whack, it pulls off your thyroid, it pulls your sex hormones out of whack, where your progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, those get affected when the adrenals are off. So we have really great adrenal support protocols,
anxiety, a lot of mental health
support modules on in our free membership.
It is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is, and for like another hot minute. A lot of it comes from not having the right minerals and nutrients and things in your body, which we have some of the things on there. But why I brought that up was, our community, if you go make a comment on this podcast, we love comments. That's something that when we released our first one, we saw some, we love reading the comments and any questions you have. I'd love to hear too some of your favorite manners that you think that we should cover in the next coming up podcast. That would be a great one. Or stories, like funny stories of where like, manners wish we would have had that conversation sooner. I would love to read funny stories on here. Yes, like if you have things that you've seen other kids, if you've observed things. We can call it missed manners. You know how like there's Miss Manners who teaches you all the manners? We can MISSED, like we missed our chance to teach manners and this is the funny story. or you've seen it happen in front of you, that it was a missed opportunity for good manners that you missed manners. Yeah. I like it. Trademarked. Time-stamped. Just kidding. Double M. Yes. So write those. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, that'd be so fun. Go to the becausetheworldneeds.com. Sign up for the free membership and all the free stuff that you get with that. Yeah. We're going to have a larger community that we're building up after that we'll talk about later too. Yeah, that's coming up. And so the final thought I did want to say, like with the cell phones, with shutting that off, we'll leave you guys with this thought. But the writer and meditation teacher Eckhart Tolle, he teaches that one conscious breath is a meditation. So everyone take a minute to do that right now. So just settle into your body. Okay. And now take a deep breath in. Empty out the lungs. Then take a deep breath in. And out whenever you're done breathing in. And if you did that fully consciously, that was a meditation. I want to keep doing it. I know, right? As soon as you do it, like literally I felt my nervous system down-regulated doing one breath. So do that. The next time you feel like you want to grab your phone, say, I'm just going to take 5 soft breaths and don't you love, I love that. There's a funny meme where they say that like someone is sitting in a restaurant, not looking at their phone, like a complete psychopath because we become so accustomed to just zoning out and being absent from our own lives. But just, we challenge you to do that, to take some conscious breaths. The next time you want to just get on and scroll, just be super present. You're doing your nervous system a huge favor every time you take time to breathe and just be present with yourself. But even one in and out, if you're scattered, you're traveling, you have so much going on, just taking that 1 minute, or sitting on an airplane, when you get on the plane, play beautiful music in your earbuds and breathe. Don't read. Don't try to do 52 other things. Start entertaining the idea of coming into a fuller presence within yourself and just being comfortable in being and not doing. So.
Especially when you're out with someone, like a restaurant. That's one of my biggest missed opportunities, where it's, I see a couple, whether it's a teen couple or, you know, an older couple, that they're at dinner and they're both on their phones.
Yeah.
Where it might seem like I'm judging, but it's just, they're missing a connection, a moment, that they're not in the present moment.
And we all do that to some degree, right? And so I also love it in a respectful way. I think it's so beautiful to remind each other. And sometimes I get snippy if I'm on my phone a lot and Kyle's like, hey, your son's trying to tell you something. I'm like, well, don't, like, fine. What? Like, I get a little bit annoyed that he's like calling me out, but then I actually sit with it for a second and go, he's right. And I'm so grateful I have a spouse who will say, hey, babe, like, you're not being, and he's super loving and respectful. He's not like rude. He's like, woman, wife, you're an idiot.
Get off that phone.
Yeah, he's not
Don't
rude.
make me pull this car over.
Yeah, he's not like, it's not bad at all. But like, I'm like a little bit prideful and snippy, like if I get called out. But I've learned, you know, that humility is my best friend. And so it's like, it takes me a minute. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, you're right. And thank you. Thank you for reminding me to come back to presence, because there's literally nothing more important to me than my relationship with my husband and my kids. So like, why is anything on my phone? What could possibly be on my phone that's more important?
I think so many times it's that you're doing it unconsciously. Like, you'll get in the car.
Oh, totally. Not
and you
intentionally.
start driving and just grabbing your phone, and it's just like a habit. And then Tennyson's trying to tell you something, or I'm telling you, and then you're just like,
yeah.
Like,
but I think that there are too many, like, I love, exactly. But I think and this is like a whole episode on its own, but like spouses need to call each other out on stuff. And nicely. Call each other out sounds like a rude. Yeah. We need to counsel together and to help each other be our best selves, because we are unconscious beings. And I love Jennifer Finlayson Fife is really brilliant, but she just says, you know, your spouse is like the ultimate like grindstone. Like, you're in like a rock polisher, right? And they're the rough edges that you're bumping up against that are refining you and helping you be all that you can be, and vice versa. And it's another missed opportunity when you see your spouse unconsciously stepping into patterns that don't serve them, but in order to keep the peace, you don't say anything.
Yeah.
And Kyle has said multiple things to me, and I to you for sure. We do this for each other, and I think we're getting better and better. In the last couple of years, I think we're much better at giving that information, and we're both better at receiving it, because we're starting to realize, like, no, this is my best friend. This person is my ally, and they are trying to help me. Like, they're not, but keeping the peace can end up with the ultimate war, is in my opinion. Keeping peace in the wrong, like, what do they say? It's not kind. Like, if you're putting up with something, and even someone's bad behavior, and you're not speaking up to them about it, do you really love them? Like, are you really a good friend? And that's how I know if I really care about somebody, because there are people that are out acting a fool and I don't say a thing to them, because it's not my circus, not my monkeys. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I don't care about them very much, because I'm not actually gonna, and I also don't, most often I don't say something hard to somebody because I don't think that they can take it. I don't think that they have the emotional intelligence to take what I'm saying, you know, genuinely and apply it. So I'm like, why would I? And all it'll do is make me the enemy, because they don't want to hear the truth. And so I don't do that, for sure.
I think a lot of, in relationships, if I said that a couple times, like, hey, maybe put down your phone because your son's trying to talk to you, and if you got angry with me, I would eventually just stop saying it and just let her be on her phone, because I don't want
the backlash
to be like, fine, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're on the other end of that and you're getting upset, if you've gotten upset with your significant other calling you out, and letting you know things in that nature, maybe going to them and saying, hey, I just want you to know I was in the wrong, and you called me out and said maybe not be on my phone trying to talk to you, and I actually appreciate that. I got offended because I felt like you were attacking me. And so maybe they can speak up again and help you with that.
Exactly. And it creates trust, right? Just like we should apologize to our kids if we fall short or like yell and get mad, we lose our temper. It's so powerful to just apologize to your kids and own that, like, I wasn't my best. Same with your spouse. If you say, and I have said that to you, like, I've gotten snippy in the moment and like, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry about that. I don't want you to stop helping me. Like, you were right. My ego was in the way. So it bothered me when you told me that I was doing something I shouldn't be doing, because that's like the nature of ego. But I would say to him, I appreciate it. And there was a big one, and we'll talk about that. Like, that should totally be our next episode, because I have really powerful content about that it's its own entire conversation. But yeah, so just to play around with, like, be open to, if people are willing, if someone is willing to, what's the word, like, censor, like, what's the, like, calling out sounds aggressive. Yeah. That's not what you're doing. But if you're bringing something to someone's attention, that's pure love. That is such love. That's such a loving act. So if someone loves you enough to speak truth to you, it's speak truth in love is the way that I like to. And that's how Kyle, like, truly, he's like, hey babe, you might want to, and he says it quietly too. He's not like shaming me in front of the kids. He's like, hey babe, you might want to put your phone down, like, Tennyson's talking to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. But I'm like, there's a little edge and I'm annoyed. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's like, he was speaking truth in love. There was no ego in what he was doing. And so when someone speaks truth in love to you, be grateful for that, because you hear all the time, they were surrounded by yes men. Oh, this person, that was their demise, is they're just surrounded by yes men. You don't want to be surrounded by yes men. You don't want to run off all of the people who will speak truth to you, because we all need truth tellers in our lives. We all need truth tellers in our circle.
That's how you know who a true friend is, if they'll tell you the truth. I was looking, there was this quote, one of my favorite people on this planet, she posted, I call her second mom, but she posted this quote. It says, be grateful for people in your lives who love you enough to correct you.
Oof.
And
there it is.
I think it comes from love. Mm-hmm. I don't think correction, one thing with our kids that I do a lot, and actually with their friends when they're over here, and if I see something, I can't help but say it, because
if you see something, say something.
Yeah. Working at the school for all those years, it was something that all of those kids were my kids. And is how I viewed it. Like, they were there and they're in my sphere of influence, I'm going to share. And so even our kids' friends that come over, like, I'll say things and I can't help it. And sometimes Laura's like, you really said that? And I'm like, yep. But I followed up with this every time. Whatever the principle is, teaching that principle. And then I say, do you know why I'm teaching you this? Do you know why? Because if I didn't, do you think me teaching this affects my life? Like, this is for you. And this is something this is to better your life. And it's not going to affect my life, like talking to their friends. Mm-hmm. But our kids, it's something like, I love you so much that I want to teach you this principle. This is why I'm sharing this with you. I'm not trying to scold you. I'm not trying to demean you or bring you down, make you feel bad about yourself. I love you so much that I'm going to teach you this correct principle so you can take this out into the world and become a better person. That's the only reason I'm teaching you this.
And I'm willing to do this and spend my time and energy doing this because I actually love and respect you enough, and I want what's best for you enough that I'm taking my time. I recently did this right for somebody. I won't give any details, but yeah, someone my same age reached out to me in a really bad situation, and I just told her the truth about, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can totally fix this. This is how. And the truth is, yeah, the way you handled this was not best. But the sooner you can own that, and I, like, gave her this huge pep talk. I spent like 45 minutes writing this response to her, giving her this huge pep talk, like, it is not all lost. Like we all make mistakes. So much can be made right by you just acknowledging that you've made this big mistake, because she did make a really big mistake. A lot of them, like a lot of missteps. And I was like, this is terrible. But my whole message to her was, but there's hope, but there's healing. There's so much that you can do to heal this. And I know that this other person involved wants that healing and wants this relationship to be mended. So there's so much in your corner. And her only response to me was like, how dare you? How dare you say this to me? You need it. She's like, I worry about the people that you do therapy with, that you're going to cause emotional harm to these people. And I was like,
you heard nothing what I said.
Got it. And I went back. What she said to me was so gaslighty and crazy that I actually was like, what did I write? I read it, said to Kyle, like, oh my gosh, what did I write? And I went back and read my entire message to her. And it was like, yes, firm and clear. Because I've learned that as a coach and in the work that I do, clients are paying me to tell them the truth. Like they don't need any more yes men, and they don't need to be fooled by their own brain either. We all get fooled by our minds. But anyway, she just like went off and was like, how dare you? And she said, as someone in the healthcare industry, you need to adjust. And I'm like, okay. It's weird because I haven't had a single client with a bad complaint. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm so busy, I don't even know what to do, because every client I've worked with tells 5 of their friends. And then I'm working with their friends. So it's like, pretty sure I don't need to adjust anything, because I'm speaking truth in love, and people are craving, the right people are craving truth.
Well,
and she's not ready for it yet. And that's fine. But now she's now in that category of people where, and I said that to her, I was like, oh, you're clearly not ready to hear any of this. I'm not in the habit of arguing with people who aren't ready to hear it. Like, so I wish you all the best, but I'm not, like, I will not be saying anything else. And she kept sending me messages and messages trying to berate me. And it was fine. But I didn't feel, but it was so cool how I knew. I reread my message to make sure I didn't suddenly go nuts and didn't know about it. But then after that, I was like, no, I spoke truth in love. And now I have total peace. Like I spoke to her what I would wish someone would have told me if I needed to hear it. Like, cause that was a saving grace that could have turned things around huge for her, but she's not ready, and she may never be ready. And that's okay too. That's how life works. Right. But I do one of my goals for this year was to speak truth in love more often, and to be more willing to give of myself. Cause I actually am pretty quick. I have, trauma to still work through. I'm pretty quick to write people off if I don't feel like they have capacity, where he is actually really open and loving, and Kyle is down to help anyone he can help, and he assumes goodwill in that respect, I think, a lot more than I do. I'm like, you can't handle it. You can't handle the truth.
It's true.
Yeah,
some people are in different boats.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, so that something is sharing truth, but coming at it instead of pointing fingers, really opening your arms in the sense of, I love you this much. This is why I'm sharing it with you.
Mm-hmm. You're worth this. Like, I'm willing to even risk you being offended.
Yeah.
In order to like offer this saving, like this life preserver, to like throwing out a life preserver to someone, and some push it away and get offended, and some grab onto it and go, wow, that really helped move the needle in my life.
Many conversations with our kids, I've said, do you know why I'm telling you this? It's because I love you, and I want you to learn this principle, because this is your life.
Yeah.
But
so awesome. So those are the thoughts of the day.
Yay.
Podcast. Dugovic podcast.
Oh, podcast.
Yep.
Over.
So check us out at becausetheworldneeds.com. Comment here with your favorite, takeaways or anything you would like to add. We'd love to hear your manners suggestions. There's going to be much, much more to come of this. We just thought, let's jump in and let's do a little bit more of it. So anyway.
8.
Yeah, right. 8 if you stayed this whole time.
Again.
Right, 8 again.
We said 8 a while ago.
I know. Then we got on a magical tangent. You guys are going to be on the ride of the magical tangents when you come hang out with us, huh, babe?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. But we'll really end now. Bye.
See ya.